Hello, my friends. Today I want to share something I've learned over my 101 years of life: how to live a meaningful life. It's a question many of us ask, especially as we get older. What does it mean to live with purpose? How can we make each day count? After all these years, I've discovered a few key insights that have guided me. Let's dive in. First, let me tell you, living a meaningful life isn't about the number of achievements or material wealth you accumulate. It's about the connections you form, the impact you make on others, and how you live your life in alignment with your values. Let's break that down. As I reflect on my 101 years of life, one of the most important lessons I can share is the power of knowing your values. When I was younger, I often found myself caught up in the hustle, always seeking achievements, always aiming for success. But as time went on, I began to realize that a meaningful life isn't about the amount of accolades you collect or the things you accumulate. It's about living in alignment with the values that matter most to you. Knowing what you stand for makes all the difference. It's easy to get distracted by what society tells you should be important: fame, fortune, or status. But when I started focusing on authenticity, compassion, and integrity, my life took on a new meaning. I found joy in small everyday moments because I was living with intention. The choices I made began to reflect the person I truly was. Here's what I learned. When you have clarity about your values, life becomes easier. It becomes easier to make decisions, to say no when needed, and to stay true to yourself even in the face of challenges. You stop measuring your worth by other standards, and instead you create your own. As I look back, I can honestly say that knowing and living by my values has been the key to feeling fulfilled, no matter what the world around me looked like. The more I aligned with my values, the more at peace I felt. Another crucial lesson I've learned over my 101 years is the importance of building meaningful relationships. When I was younger, I believed that success was measured by individual achievements. I thought that doing everything on my own and accomplishing big things would bring happiness. But as I grew older, I realized that what truly matters are the connections we make along the way. The people in our lives are what bring us joy, purpose, and meaning. Whether it's family, friends, or a partner, it's relationships that create the foundation of a meaningful life. Life can be tough, and there will always be challenges, but having someone to share it with makes it all the more worthwhile. Throughout my life, I've seen many relationships come and go, and I've learned the difference between superficial connections and those built on trust, respect, and love. Deep connections take time to nurture and require effort, but they are the ones that endure and bring true fulfillment. When you take the time to really listen to people, to show up for them when they need it, and to be there through both good and bad times, the bond you share becomes something that can withstand any storm. These connections, these bonds, are the ones that define a truly meaningful life. As I reflect on my 101 years, one of the most important realizations I've had is that a life of meaning isn't just about personal achievements or material gains. It's about serving a purpose larger than yourself. When I was younger, like most people, I focused a lot on personal success, climbing the ladder, accumulating wealth, and proving myself. But as I grew older, I began to understand something far deeper. The greatest fulfillment comes from knowing that your life has meaning beyond your own desires. It's not just about what you accomplish for yourself, but what you contribute to the world, to others. I found my purpose in teaching, guiding, and helping others discover their potential. It brought me a sense of joy and satisfaction that no amount of recognition or material wealth could ever provide. No matter your profession, your role, or your situation in life, there's always a way to contribute. Whether it's through your work, your community, or the way you raise your children, when you give of yourself, it fills you with purpose. I've seen countless people, even in their old age, find immense fulfillment by helping others, by giving back. It's that sense of contribution that keeps life meaningful, and that's what truly enriches the soul. When you serve a purpose larger than yourself, you live with intention. You stop chasing fleeting moments of success and instead dedicate yourself to something that will outlast you. And in doing so, you find a peace that comes from knowing you made a difference in the world. Another lesson I've learned in my 101 years is the power of gratitude. Gratitude has the remarkable ability to transform your life. You see, when I was younger, I didn't always appreciate the small moments. I was too busy striving for more, constantly chasing what was next. But as I grew older, I began to realize that true happiness doesn't come from external achievements or possessions. It comes from appreciating what you already have. Gratitude isn't just about saying thank you or expressing appreciation when it's convenient. It's about a mindset, a way of looking at the world through a lens of thankfulness. Every day, no matter what challenges I faced, I made it a point to focus on what I had rather than what I lacked, whether it was the love of my family, the simple joys of a warm cup of tea, or the beauty of a sunrise. These were the moments that gave my life depth. Gratitude grounds you, no matter how chaotic life may seem. It shifts your perspective, helping you see the good even in difficult times. There were times when life tested me, health issues, the loss of loved ones, and personal struggles. But when I chose to focus on the gifts I still had, instead of what was lost, it gave me the strength to carry on. I encourage you to make gratitude a daily practice. It will help you focus on the abundance in your life rather than the scarcity. Gratitude is the gateway to joy, and it's a habit that, if cultivated, will fill your heart with peace and contentment. One of the most powerful lessons I've learned in my 101 years is the importance of embracing change. Life, as I've seen it, is constantly evolving. Whether it's the world around us, our bodies, or even our own perspectives, change is inevitable. The question is not whether change will happen, but how we choose to respond to it. Early in life, I resisted change. I was comfortable with the familiar, with the way things were. But with time, I learned that resisting change only causes frustration and pain. Change is a part of life that we can't control, but what we can control is how we adapt. The key is to remain flexible, to be willing to learn, to grow, and to see change as an opportunity, not an obstacle. When I think back on my life, some of the most fulfilling moments were those when I embraced change, when I let go of old habits or ways of thinking, and opened myself up to new possibilities. One of the biggest changes I faced was the advancement of technology. As a younger man, I never imagined a world where machines and computers would shape our lives so dramatically. At first, I resisted, but then I realized that technology offered new ways to connect with others, to learn, and to share my wisdom. I embraced it, and it enriched my life in ways I never expected. The same goes for personal growth. As I aged, I began to shed the old layers of who I thought I was and embrace new ways of thinking, of being, and of loving. Change allowed me to become a better version of myself at every stage of life. So my advice to you is this: don't fear change, welcome it. Life's beauty lies in the continuous process of becoming, learning, growing, and evolving, and that's what makes life truly meaningful. So, if you want to live a meaningful life, remember these lessons. Know your values, invest in relationships, serve a purpose, live with gratitude, and embrace change. When you live with intention, every day becomes an opportunity to create a life full of meaning. If I could give you one piece of advice from my 101 years of life, it's this. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start living with meaning. Start today. Thank you for watching. If you found value in these life lessons, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more wisdom from a life well lived. And remember, you are never too old to start living with meaning.